Hey everybody, we just finished filming episode number 30 of Festool Shop Talk. It's with Bud Farmer from Jacksonville, Texas, a furniture builder, and what a story of his journey on how he got to be where he is today. His IG handle and just about everything out there is Forest Design Co. So give this one a listen. You'll enjoy it. All right, everybody. Welcome to number 30 of Festool Shop Talk. And we have a gentleman from Texas with us today. His name is Bud Farmer, and he is known as Forest Design Co. on Instagram. I believe also on TikTok, eh, Bud?
Yeah, kind of everything, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of the above. Yeah.
Yep. And your website is Forest Design Co. because that's an amazing website.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But yes, that is correct.
Wicked cool. On Facebook, you're Forest Design Company, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's sometimes YouTube's funny like that, I have found. Cool. All right. So I can tell you right now, Bud, I met you a year ago and 2 days because somebody mentioned at the marketing meeting here at Festool that it was the anniversary of Festool Connect. And that's when I first met you.
So that was a year ago and 2 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, where does time go, huh?
I have no idea.
A lot's been crammed into this year.
Yeah. I was just telling Chris about looking forward to the next 5 years. And he goes, it's going to go by so quick. It's ridiculous.
Man. It's so insane for sure.
Yeah. I was like,
Indiana. That was a good time. That was my first kind of like event to go to. I mean,
really?
Yeah, pretty much, I mean, I've been to some smaller things, but yeah, Indiana was a good time. It was definitely like that first time I had been around some like top-notch caliber woodworkers, tradesmen, things like that. Yeah, it was really, it was humbling, a little bit of imposter syndrome going on there, but it was a good time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have felt. Well, let's go back to that imposter syndrome later on, if we remember in the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Because I experienced it my first year at Festool, and it was it was really weird. Okay, so then I saw you in Austin in October, didn't I?
Yeah, one of the stops was in Austin, and I made the drive. It's like 3.5 hour drive for us. Not too bad. So, everything in Texas, 3.5 hours in Texas, that's nothing, I
actually looked it up last night. And then I saw you again. No, I saw you at the refresh. No, I saw you at the recharge. That was in May, I think. And then I saw you in October, and you were part of the build-off.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, the build-off was cool, man. That was another place where the philanthropic and but again, like around all these guys that I've always kind of followed, and it was cool. It was cool. I did have a broken hand at the time, if you remember. So it was I was kind of like doing what I could, but it was like surgery. I think it was maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday that we got there. I can't remember, but it was like Tuesday, surgery one day and then the philanthropic the next day. So it was all fresh, but yeah. That's
crazy. But, hey, did you break your hand? Did you break your hand?
I broke it playing basketball. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. No, that's cool.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, man. There's a guy who's been working with Festool here. I've known him. Well, I've known him for 17 years. He's worked for Festool at 30, first in Germany and now here. And I saw him with a broken wrist, and I asked him, "How did you do that?" He goes, I was charging in basketball. He's ruthless basketball player. He's really good,
man. Yeah,
for sure.
But
Cool.
But yeah,
Oh,
3 run-ins, I guess we've had. Lucky run-ins.
yeah. And now today,
Yeah.
which is cool.
That's right. Yeah,
For
sure, man.
For sure. I
Yeah.
think I'll be in
Lucky to be
Austin.
here.
Yeah, I think I'll be in Austin again in October because that's how we do it. We usually do the May build off here. We're going to do one in May this year. And then we're going to do Austin again. And then
Like
we
another
did.
recharge type thing?
Nope. It's going to be a build off. Like we're going to go. We organize one here now. We used to do them only in Austin, and I'd go down there once or twice a year to do that. But
Yeah.
we did another one after October. We did another one in Tampa, which went fantastic.
Did
It
it?
was it was all female.
That's right. Yeah, some of the guys I believe that were I heard chatter about that, and whenever we were in Austin. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wicked, man. It was
Awesome.
at Florida School of Woodworking. Kate Swan is the person who owns it, and she was a huge tour de force, man. It went really, really smooth. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I learned a lot from the Austin stuff. Boy, that got crazy all at once, didn't it?
It did get crazy.
Wow.
Woo! It was you're talking about the philanthromy?
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, we got ambitious with that project. It was a good one.
You were on Lucas's team, weren't you?
I was on Lucas. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw you just go all the way to the back and just you had your job to do and you just chilled back there and did it.
That's right. Yeah.
I was kind of jealous. I was like, man, I was like, because I was like, when I'm at those things, the only thing I hear, even when I'm sleeping at night, is 2 words: "Hey, Sedge, come over here." Hey, Sedge. I'm like, and Lucy was down there with me, and she was a huge help. But boy, it was exhausting. Oh,
it was a lot of work crammed into a few days for sure. Yeah. And that was my first build off. So that was a good experience as well. So, I mean, man, those things are a lot of work, for everyone doing the work, but putting it on is, oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, you can tell it's quite the endeavor. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you know what? The best thing that comes out of it is the money goes to a really good cause, whatever we choose.
Yeah, for sure.
And at Kate's school, it went to all the money went to scholarship program at the school.
Oh, so cool. That's great.
It's a great place. I may go down there and take a class sometime.
Yeah, man.
Too cool. Okay, so this is funny. See what this is just funny. Okay. Let's start this way. So people get to know you, Bud. Tell us about how you got started in woodworking and how long you've been doing it, and just give us a synopsis. Take your time, but people want to get to know you.
So, I've kind of been around tools more in like the construction side of things, kind of as long as I can remember. My grandfather was a home builder, craftsman. My dad was a home builder, craftsman guy. One of my close cousins worked for my dad, and he did his own thing as well. But it's just kind of always been around. Tools have always been around. My dad passed away when I was 20 years old, and I was still in Jacksonville where we grew up. And then it was just kind of that moment where I was like, man, dude, I guess I'm going to be a builder, So I took the business over. He had a really successful business.
Wow.
And I just kind of jumped full force, like right into this business. And so that's abruptly how I got started in like the construction side of things. And, I think I stuck with it for maybe, he passed away in 2005. And then I moved away in 2008. So I gave it 3 years. Wow. And then like 3 years down the road, my wife and I were kind of like, man, I'm not ready to do this yet. Like I'm not ready to like settle down, like, and have a very full-time, successful construction business, like that's just not me yet. So, And so we kind of packed everything up, hit the road, and we had family in Colorado.
Oh, cool.
And so we moved to Fort Collins, Colorado.
Wicked.
And then man, I dropped everything. I didn't no tools, no woodworking, no construction, and just completely got out of it. I worked at my family's barbecue restaurant for a while, Serious Texas Barbecue there in Fort Collins. And then I started working at Odell Brewing. And yeah, right. Yeah. That's how we met each other. Not at Odell's, but a little beer talk.
Yeah, that was cool as heck.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
I loved it. I loved every bit of it. It was just kind of like I almost got to start over. Nobody, so in Texas, I grew up in a relatively small town, like 12 to 15,000 people or so.
Yep.
So everybody knows everybody
sure.
knows what you do. Everybody, they just kind of know you and your reputation and your family. And so moving to Colorado was just like, this is great, kind of get to start over, nobody knows me for like any building, any construction. And I just kind of did my thing, and it was great. But anyways, time kind of went on, and I don't really know what prompted us to get back to Texas, to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But we stayed there until 2013ish, I believe, maybe 14.
Wow.
And then I came back, and again, I was like, I'm not going to go back and do any construction. I just don't want to do this. It's just not like, I don't know if it was something that I didn't enjoy because of just how I got thrown into it, or what the case was, but just didn't enjoy it too much. But getting back, like the phone started ringing and people wanted me to do jobs. That reputation kind of like, it was still waiting there. My dad's legacy, his reputation, was still there. And I just kind of fell back into it, just kind of started doing the construction again. And somewhat reluctantly, I wasn't super excited to be moving back to Texas. So I had that going on. I had not super excited to be back in the construction world. And then I took this major job on. It was my sister is a doctor. She started a clinic. So I did this major, like, not only was it construction, but it was like commercial and medical.
Wow.
So it was just more than anything I had ever experienced. So, as far as all the guidelines and all the permits and all the inspections and all the ADA stuff. And and then my wife, we get pregnant, and we were expecting our first kid, and then just all this stuff, like was just compounding on top of each other. And then I just kind of snapped. I broke, I started having these major panic attacks.
Wow.
Started having major anxiety, something that I had never really experienced before. Like, I've always been kind of go with the flow, like just kind of easygoing guy. And all this stuff just kind of hit me, and I, and I just kind of had to deal with it for a while. And my father-in-law had this building that he leased out to like this bread company. Well, it's like a bread distribution company. And they were ending their contract or ending the lease, and it was just available. So I was like, you know what? Let me get in this place. I'll start building cabinets for the homes that I build. And I got in there and just kind of like built one coffee table. So it was 2018. And that was kind of when epoxy hadn't really gotten huge yet, So I put out like one. Yeah, just starting. So I put out one coffee table, and then it, like people wanted So
Yeah.
they're like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. And then, then the whole cutting board craze,
Oh my God.
charcuterie board. I mean, it like,
oh,
I had no idea so many people wanted charcuterie boards,
it's crazy.
And then that kind of started. And then, I kind of got to this point to where I was like, man, maybe I could do the woodworking thing. And then I just kind of got it in my head. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to go for it.
Awesome.
And I started doing it. And it's like, and I started taking on less construction and adding, getting more jobs with Forest Design Company. Yeah. And then like, not to say I still wasn't struggling with, like anxiety and panic, but things started getting better. I started like kind of seeing that spark. I started enjoying what I was doing.
There you go.
And things just kind of started turning around, and then I would say in like 2021, 2022, maybe, I was to that point to where I was like, oh, I was out of construction altogether. And forest design was the income, was the main thing. And man, the woodworking, I know it's kind of cheesy to say, but it kind of like saved me, Yep. It really did. It kind of put something into my lap that I had like a creative outlet. I enjoyed it. I wasn't like managing just a full on production of subcontractors that basically, right. You have this whole thing to where like you're giving someone your word, you're putting your stamp of approval on things, and you're so relying on all these other people's word. It's just so hard. I didn't enjoy being like a manager to so many people, and so yeah, man, whenever I was able to kind of like let that go, it just let the reins go of that construction company and 100% commit to forest design. It was a game changer. It saved me for sure. Yeah.
It's I've heard that story several times where guys in construction just start building a few things here and there, and they go, wow, I really dig this. And then they get out of construction and they go full time, in the furniture building, and they realize, and the number one word in there is creativity. And the other second benefit is that we used to say this in the restaurant business: it'd be a perfect business if you didn't have customers and employees.
Yeah, for sure.
So
man.
You were juggling subs and getting people to show up, and my God, and the pushback, the pushback on, and you got to juggle the expectations of your customer. Yeah. And you got to realize it's not, you try to teach them, it's not your fault, but they see it because it's you, you're the face of the company, and it's your integrity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's, it was so challenging, and, some people are fantastic at it.
Yep.
I just learned that it wasn't me. I mean, I could handle it well, but you know how it is. Like, just if you don't enjoy it, it shows, like it's hard to be motivated every day. And it wears on you so much, it just wears you down. Yeah. But then when you find that spark, of enjoyment, not to say it doesn't have its challenges for sure, but like you're kind of have that energy and motivation to tackle those challenges, and that's kind of my experience with what I'm doing now. It's like, it's challenging, but I'm ready for it,
Yeah. Do you have employees in the shop?
I started with an employee. And I currently don't. I don't have employees anymore, not to say that won't be the case.
Yeah.
But just how I've grown so, kind of organically.
Oh, I know that
I'm
feeling.
really enjoying, selfishly, I'm enjoying the luxury of having me to only do it. You know what I mean?
No.
But it comes with its challenges too. You know, like I mean, I
Yep.
built a lot of big stuff, a lot of big tables. Like,
Yeah.
okay, how am I going to move this thing? You know, like
Yeah.
it definitely has.
I see you in your post. I'm sorry I interrupted, but I see your post with
No,
people in there. And that's why I'm asking, does he have employees? But you probably are in an area where you can go and grab some people, say, hey, I need a quick
for sure,
flip. Yep. Yeah,
100%. You know,
that's what we
yeah.
did.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Whenever I need some help, I can round up some. You know, whether it be buddies or
Yeah.
just some random guys. You know, I still have a family here. You know, comes in
Yeah.
handy.
Yeah. Well, for us, my business partner, Mikey, and I, we would walk out the bay door, walk across the parking lot and grab 4 or 5 people out of a bigger company, and we'd borrow them for, whatever, and vice versa. They would say, hey, we need you to do this. And there were like 5 other cabinet shops in the same area as us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also a good thing because we could pick their brains on how they would do a certain situation.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
But
I'm lucky to have I have a hardware store directly across the street. So they have a lumber yard. So I've had to get them a few times to bring their forklifts over and help me unload things. So it's super handy to have those guys around.
Yeah, that nearby forklift is awesome. I'll tell you that.
I've run into that many a times. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so I was stalking you to get ready for this. Okay. And I was blown away because when I went on your website, on your homepage, it says build good into the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a heck of a philosophy.
Man. Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why it's on the website. And I don't take it lightly either. You know, when I started, pretty much whenever I committed, like I talked about earlier, when I was like, all right, this is going to be it. You know, I decided that, I want to focus on quality. I want to focus on this bringing me fulfillment and happiness.
Joy.
And I think, through that, I've also learned like, man, it's hard to accumulate all those things that are important to you if you don't give back in some way. I really believe that. And for me, that way of giving back and it hasn't stopped here. I plan on, I have other things that I still want to work towards, but currently, it was kind of giving back to environmental causes and 1% for the planet. I became a business member with those guys kind of early on to the business. And then, shortly after that, I was like, well, I use a lot of lumber, a lot of trees, lots of slabs. Man, let's try to offset some of that. So let's plant some trees while we're at it, So I became a partner with One Tree Planted. Wow. And so now, every smaller product that I sell, like in the showroom or on my website, I plant 2 trees for the small items, and then the tables, things like that. I'll typically do 200 or 300 trees per table. And
what?
Yeah. So, so in these years, man, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of trees, we've planted together, but
goodness.
Yeah. So and that's just kind of an important thing to me. So, nature's always been kind of like that bit of peace for me. And I love it. Anything nature oriented, whether it be camping or hiking, or I grew up wakeboarding and snowboarding and, I just love being out in nature. So that's just kind of something that is important for me to get back to.
Okay. So 1% for the planet. Mm-hmm. Could you explain that to us?
Yeah. So
please.
Yeah. So basically it's an organization affiliated with like Patagonia. Yvon Chouinard started this organization. He's the one that created Patagonia. And, his whole philosophy was to protect, the these places, we have to treat business a bit differently. So,
Sure.
so basically as a business partner to them, I donate 1% of my revenue annually to their organization. So, and that goes towards many different environmental causes, yeah. So yeah, all the 1% of that revenue goes towards 1% to the planet, then the other whole tree organization as well.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at your shop there, and I'm looking at your sustainer.
Finding some goodies back there.
Yeah. Is that an outdoor sustainer?
It is.
Oh, that's so cool. That's the orange and green one.
I got I got that one. Got some mug. So I have the Festool mugs, and my kids fight me over it. They won't. They're not mine anymore.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And
how did you come about using Festool? Because I see a ton of it back there.
Yeah. So originally, I gotta say, my cousin that I kind of very briefly mentioned, that worked for my dad. He's a tradesman. He now lives in Seattle, and he does a lot of.
Oh wow.
He worked for Treehouse Workshop. That's Pete Nelson. So he was on like Treehouse Masters and things like that. And
really?
Yeah, oh yeah. So he was the one that originally introduced me to Festool. I think it was like, might be wrong on the state, but I want to say it was like 2015, 2016 or something. He was like, hey, check out it was a track saw. I don't know what year. He bought it used.
Oh, cool.
And he sent me some pictures, and he sent me this, I believe it was like the front of an island, and he did a very, had all kinds of crazy like diagonal geometry cuts in it, and it was all done with a track saw. And I was like, pretty cool, man. I get it. So I got to,
sure.
So then whenever I started kind of thinking about forest design, I had to get a track saw. The TS-75, that was my first tool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And, once I kind of saw the quality, it was just so different. That and a Rotex. I think I got a Rotex as well, right at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So once I experienced that quality difference, I just kind of ran with it. I thought it was going to be something that, like I said earlier, quality was something that I really wanted to showcase in the shop,
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to associate myself with companies that stood for quality, and just kind of slowly started accumulating tools, so I got the track saw, the Rotex.
Wow.
Maybe the Domino was next on the list.
Yeah.
And, every time I got one of these tools, it was just kind of like, I've never used anything like that. Yeah. I've never experienced any, like, this is on a different level than I've ever been used to. So, from there, man, I just got sucked in and haven't stopped.
Right. By the way, welcome to the club. I had to get a job at Festool for my addiction.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know. And, let me tell you. Yeah. No, let me tell you, like it doesn't.
So
I tell people so many times, like, if you get one, be careful, because you're in it.
So I'll tell you what, my first, and everybody knows this, it was an ATF 55. It was a very early on one. And that's still my favorite tool, a track saw. And this past weekend, let's just say over 20 years later, I have a TS 60 at home I was using. And I had in my bay window, I'm doing a window seat right now. And from one wall to the other, it's 2 inches out, 50 millimeters out. So my wife looked at it because I have it extended before I'm trimming the top of it. She's going, wow, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I had it back in place and she went, huh? And when I was cutting, I go, how else would I have done this?
Oh, man.
When you were talking about the island and doing cuts, I was like, Yeah, that's how I still feel to this day about that track saw. That I can't right now. And nowadays, that's part of my right arm. Because
100%. Yeah,
it's amazing.
me too.
Yeah.
I mean, with especially with all like I do a lot of like live edge, like big. I get a lot of big slabs, and
Yeah.
there's just really no other way to. I mean, you can take a regular circular saw and
Yep.
roughly cut it, but the finished product, I mean, I've done some 18-foot long tables. It's just there's not another great way to cut a perfect edge on it.
Yeah. Hey, that reminds me. On custom orders out of your website, what do you think? Because we'll first go quantity wise. What do you think you sell the most of?
So it's changed over the years. It's changed over the years. Like I said earlier, it was kind of like earlier on in the business, it was just like cutting board, charcuterie board, cutting board, charcuterie board. Hundreds of those with the coffee table and a table mixed in. But now I would say it's predominantly like dining tables.
Wow. Awesome.
And doing a lot of conference tables lately. Tables. I would say tables are the main product that I sell.
That's so cool.
But it's kind of constantly evolving, things are just kind of keep changing, whether it's the industry changing or I'm in a very fortunate position to where I do have a showroom.
Yeah.
So, I can kind of like, if I ever get the time, it's hard to keep that showroom stocked just because I'm so busy on other orders, but I do have the opportunity to build some things that interest me or inspire me, in a creative way, just to build it and put it in the showroom. It's most people don't have that luxury. I'm very aware of, to be able to showcase that kind of thing, and sometimes that leads, when people see something, they're like, kind of sparks their creativity as well, and they're like, oh, we like this, can you do it this way or that way or whatever the case is, so
is your showroom attached to the front of your shop?
Different location. I'm like like 3 or 4 miles away, super close. I mean,
is it in a downtown area with foot traffic? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's downtown location. Jacksonville, where I live, is starting to get a lot of momentum. Lots of new businesses are coming in.
Cool.
And so, one of my best friends growing up is a chef. And he moved back from California. He was in California for, maybe 16, 17 years or so. And he moved back.
Cool.
4 years ago. And so we decided to buy a building downtown and completely restore the building. And so now when you walk in, I have a showroom, designated front portion of the restaurant, but the rest is bar and restaurant, where cool, all of the tables you eat on are products of mine that are for sale as well. So like kind of the whole restaurant and bar as a showroom, honestly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, good time. I mean, that's the second thing that kind of has been a lifesaver for me. Is it's just like being able to work with my buddy all the time, and
that is so cool.
It's so fun. Yeah, it's been such a good time.
Okay, so this is an important question, Bud.
Yeah.
In the restaurant / bar, you get some good taps?
Oh man. We have 6 taps, but I put a lot of thought and focus into that beer, Yeah,
of course you have.
Yeah. So, and also, I don't even know if you know this, but we were looking for a bartender. And I was like, I've worked in a brewery. I can do this. So I'm a bartender now too. So on Friday nights, I'm the bartender. Cool. I get to kind of like drop the woodworking, drop any kind of thing, and just kind of like switch gears and go bartend, So it's It's such a good time, man. We absolutely love that place.
I did that. I bartended for so many years down in Fort Lauderdale.
Isn't it
And
fun?
it's awesome because everybody knows I'm kind of a social butterfly and I love people. And I used to have so much daggone fun bartending.
Yeah.
Oh God, I still have
So
friends
much
from
fun.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I kind of like beer too, so it goes hand in hand, you know.
That's how we met, kind of, right?
Yeah, you walked up to me and you said, "What? Okay, so you came in the night before and you went to dinner somewhere." Yeah, go ahead and tell people.
Yeah, so it was Indiana. Whenever I went to the first Festool event, that's kind of like what I do. Whenever I go somewhere, the first thing I do is like search is like good craft beer. Good craft beer. Where can I get it?
Same.
You know?
Same. I type into Apple Maps brewery near me.
Yep. And there was one kept coming up. It was what was it called? Moonlight?
Moontown, baby.
Moontown Brewery.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I went over to Moontown by myself. You know, I didn't know anybody yet, and I think everybody were, you know, they were still kind of trickling in, and just kind of went and bellied up to the bar and chatting with the bartender. And I can't remember how it came up. Festool came up. I don't know if I was wearing a shirt or maybe he asked me what I was doing, and I mentioned it, and he was like, "Oh, you know, Festool Sedge." That's what he said. And I was like, "Oh, is he a frequent guest of yours?" You know? And he's like, "Yeah, he comes in all the time with his wife and
it's Tyler.
And
he's
then,
such a good dude.
That's kind of what struck up the conversation, because at that time I had never met you.
Yeah,
and then the next day,
yeah. First, you said that to me, and I said, "What beers do you have?" And I remember you had a Cecil, and that is one of the best IPAs on the planet for sure.
It was good.
I've had one or two. And then, that was wicked cool. In fact, last year for the build off, because you were here for the recharge, and then 12 people stayed afterwards, and we went to Moontown for a big dinner.
Nice. That's right.
That was awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they get such that 1915 room. It's huge.
And I didn't go in there, but you told me about it. I didn't even realize they had it attached to that place. Yeah,
it's an old high school that they refurbished. It had been vacant since 1976, and I think they've been in there 6 years now. Not that I know. Somebody said you ought to be the marketing guy for them. I go, no, I'm a Festoolian. Okay, hey, that was a really good tangent, hey?
Yeah, right. Yeah, beer always gets us a little off topic.
It's all good. That's why I love this. Okay, so I have some more business questions for you.
Yeah, bring it on.
I went on, of course, your website, and then I went to check out the products, you know, charcuterie boards and all the other stuff you make. And I went, okay, what's the undertaking of that? What's the process of it? Like, okay, say I order a charcuterie board. Do you do it all? The shipping, everything?
Yeah. So it's, going back to that employee. That's why I said I'm not opposed to it because it is a lot. Sure. It is a lot to take on. You know, So basically, if somebody puts in an order on the website, it's all me. I mean, from the physical work and the social media, every bit of to fulfilling the orders. Now I don't do a ton of online orders. I feel like it's
okay.
You know, orders now today, like it's kind of shifted from like online orders for me. It's weird. Before I had a huge, like social media, like I wasn't hugely into it.
Yeah.
People would email me. People would look at the website. They would put in an order, but now there's so many different modes of like communication and ways to touch base with you. And I feel like everybody just kind of like, whether it's email or Instagram or TikTok or just calling me, that's how they put in the orders for the most part. But
really,
it's a lot of, there's a lot of that, which it can be difficult to keep track of all that, but
Wow.
But yeah, to answer your question, it's a lot, it's a lot
Yeah.
to handle. There's many times where I found when I get overwhelmed, I just kind of spin in circles. I don't like get
Yep.
anything accomplished.
Yep. Join the club.
But it's nice to like know that, because whenever I find myself not being,
Yep.
when I don't get anything done and I'm not very proactive on things, I'm like, all right, step back, calm down, take some breath, start with one thing, focus on this, and just notch down the list, and
yes.
And it's been getting like that a lot recently, where I have to calm myself down and like get back on top of things, because it's a lot, taxes, my goodness, it doesn't stop,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I used to get there when I was first started at Festool. Somebody pulled me aside. He said, Sedge, this is not life or death. It's power tools.
Yeah.
And I had that philosophy in my cabinet shop with my business partner. I would say, hey, when it's not fun, we're not doing it.
Yes.
And he understood that. And we got some, decent sized arguments over pieces that we were building. But I would say, let's get out of here, shut the door and come back. And then we would regroup. It is not life or death. It's a business. You want to be successful, but you got to think of your mental well-being.
100%.
100%. That is so cool, man. Yeah, you take a deep breath. You go, hey, wait a minute. Now I'm going to ask you another question. How many people walk in off the street and pick something up?
That happens, quite a bit, for sure.
Yeah,
So the showroom, I have to keep up with trying to keep it stocked, because people do come in off the street, whether, super fortunate, like I said, to where the restaurant brings people in, not even knowing about me. And they're like, oh, wow, like, look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. I bring people into the restaurant, saying, I didn't even know you had a restaurant here.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
People are definitely, there's a lot of foot traffic in that place. And
that's cool.
Whether, a lot of people, it's so fun, and whether people like want to buy a product to walk out of the door with, or what I probably get more of is like, hey, I love this table. Can you do one similar, but with these dimensions, so that leads to a lot of my custom work,
Wicked cool. And after a couple IPAs, it loosened up pretty good.
Hey, we had that was in the business model, huh? Hey, you don't want this yet? Have a few beers, Have
a few beers. That is, I didn't realize that that's what the showroom was.
Yeah.
That is absolutely a perfect
it's
concept.
Such a fun time, it really is like that. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, it is business. It's very important, in that aspect, but like, we have so much fun with it, so it makes it all more important that it's just an outlet for fun.
I'm just glad we got into this topic, because I think some people look at folks on the internet that are selling their product, and they don't realize the fulfillment that needs to go in, and the shipping, and it's all that one person, and it can get they could get inundated and stress out. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
I won't mention any names, but I know some people that are making a ton. They're making a ton of product, selling it on their website, and they're through 3D printing. And I say, and I looked at them one time. How many make a month of those? 10, 15? They go, how about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of them? And I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is.
It is crazy.
And they ship worldwide. It's amazing.
So that boggles my mind, like, I'm sure because I'm a one-man show, and but that's a lot of work. I mean, there's so much behind the scenes, that people don't see,
Yeah. I know a person that has, I think he has three. He started with three 3D printers. He's got 10 of them working 24 hours a day from the beginning of October through mid-January.
Mm. Oh,
It's 10 of them.
oh my goodness. I don't even want to think about that. That makes my head hurt.
Yeah, that's something I don't like. Work.
Yeah.
That's too much work, but actually you can tell how much he enjoys it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you alluded. I kind of have a question here that I was going to ask you about one of your posts on Instagram, but now I know where you probably get some of your inspiration. Okay, so let's talk about that treehouse. Who's it for? Yeah. Where is it? That is so daggone cool.
We'll start. So it's in my backyard.
Oh, cool.
Who's it for? Started for Sedge. I'm one of those guys. I can't go small. I can't do it. It's hard for me.
I can't. Yeah, join the club. Yeah.
So it started just like with an idea, like, I want to build my kids a tree house, and then it just kind of morphed into this. It's now becoming like a. Like a guest home. When you have a good phone a friend that can answer a lot of questions for you and point you in the right direction, you kind of see what you could have. And now it's been like such a cool thing. Of course it's going to be for the kids, but what I plan on as well is like just a good hangout spot, like for friends, families, like have a little place to stay in the backyard, if they want to. So it's going to be kind of like all encompassing, like playhouse, stay there if you want. Just, it's been such a fun project though.
I'm just going to call it out for everybody. You have to go to Bud's Instagram account, Forest Design Co., to check out how huge this is, but how cool it is. It's like, I want to go hang. Okay. So the thing I see, and I have it here, it must smell great. You're making that out of Western red cedar, aren't you?
So that's actually like an Eastern aromatic cedar. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh my God, even better. Oh,
it's, you're right. You're right. Every time you don't even have to make a cut, but you just, so I had it in like a cargo trailer. I went and picked it up. We have like a local mill. And as soon as you open the doors of that trailer, it just like hits you, It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
The smell of cedar,
Yeah, it is good. It's very potent. You can't mistake that. You can't mistake that smell. Yeah.
I've cut a lot of it over the years, and I just think I'm blessed because I have friends who have that cedar sensitivity, and they can't even cut a stick of it, and they get all clogged up. Yeah. And I think
unfortunate.
Me too, man. I think people have also a sensitivity to walnut as well, I think.
Yeah, and what I've recently learned is monkey pod. Oh, I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but it is harsh. Have you ever worked with monkey pod?
No, you mean no? But I was in a shop, someone was working it, and I just love the tree itself.
It is beautiful, but I noticed, if you breathe it in without any kind of respirator or anything, it like punches you. And I had the hardest time. If you caught a whiff, it would just hit me so hard and make me choke and cough where I couldn't control it. It was tough. It was tough.
Yeah. That grows up in the here in the States. That goes up in the Northwest, I think, because I saw a lot of it growing in Vancouver when I was up there.
Monkey pod?
Yeah.
I might be wrong about it. I thought it was more of a tropical.
Yeah, well, think about it. On the coast, that's kind of tropical up there. I felt like I was in a rainforest up in Vancouver. It's gorgeous. Yeah. And the other name for it grows on the coast. The other name for it, I think my buddy Reiner called it Madeira or something like that. Someone will correct us in the comments, but I think
I'm sure. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
it is really pretty. Yeah,
the tree is cool as heck.
huh?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I was like,
but go ahead. Sorry.
Go.
Walnut. Yeah, walnuts can hit you pretty tough too, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it the walnut blues.
Yeah, I guess I'm lucky that I haven't had any sensitivity to wood over the years. Yeah. It's weird. Cool.
Yeah. Heck
cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something. I'll ask you this. You mentioned something about social media. You get a lot of stuff coming in through social media, don't you?
Yeah, exposure, whether that leads to orders or opportunities. Yeah, for sure. I mean, social media it's been a game changer for for the business. I
think I met you through social media. That's
exactly.
what I think. That's what I think's great.
Yeah, it's hard to. I've never done it without social media, so I couldn't tell you how it would be without it. But
yeah,
I can tell you that it has brought me a lot of positive things.
Yeah. Same.
As long as you know how to navigate it, I think it's easy to kind of take over in a sense, but it is quite the amazing tool for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
The first time I got turned on to Instagram. Yeah, I did. Somebody asked me, do you know what a podcast is? I go, no. He goes, you're going to be on one tonight. And they, all three of the guys, actually there were 4 guys in the room, but 3 of them just looked at me and go, you don't even know what a podcast is, do you? I go, no.
How long ago are you talking?
I think 6 years ago. And I was on the set of This Old House, and the guys grabbed me. And we were, when I say the set, we were doing some videos inside Jeff Sweeney's shop. And I went out to dinner at that time with the guy who owned This Old House Ventures. And then I came back, and they had just finished. It was The Modern Craftsman, and I had never listened to a podcast. I had never heard one, and we had so much daggone fun. And it was Nick and Tyler Grace, who I knew, and you know what? Never in my wildest dreams did I think that they would become my friends, and I consider them friends. And so cool. We've done this Festool Shoptalk in Nick's shop. And those guys are just some of the most giving gentlemen and contractors out there. But I asked them at one time, to get back to full circle, I go, boy, I wish I had that tool of Instagram when we used to travel with our portfolio. We'd get a call on our phone. We would go in somebody's house, show them our portfolio of pitches. I'm an old dude.
Yeah.
Now I could just say, look at my Instagram account.
Check it out. Yeah.
Check out my Facebook page if I had the cabinet shop. Yeah. And that is your online folio. We had a website early on, but nobody would go to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I just look at social media now, and that can be huge for a contractor.
It is huge. It is huge. I mean, at least for me, it's been, like I said, I haven't done it without it. So I don't know what it would be like without, having it. But I'm sitting here talking with you, so, I mean, I can't say that would have happened without social media.
Yeah,
it would be hard to think that would be an option, and even going to Indiana or going to Austin, there's just so much connection. There's so many, you start learning how, everything is, I guess, like the community is large, but you do start noticing most people kind of know of everybody, and there is like this intertwined community, intertwined connection, and it's such a cool tool to be able to be so accessible to everyone. Yeah,
it has brought me many friends that are really inspiring to me, because I see their passion for woodworking.
Sure. Yeah.
And I go, okay, this is good.
For sure.
This is a great thing just to bring people together. That have that passion.
Yeah.
For woodworking.
As long as you can like understand that and don't let the negative get to you, which is a very hard thing. Which is a very hard thing to do at first, because there is a lot of everybody has an opinion. Holy moly!
There's a lot of what do we call them? Trolls. There's a lot of haters.
Man, yeah.
You can't please everybody. Is how I grew up. So you just have to have a thick. I tell people, you gotta have a thick skin, and it's tough sometimes because it really is a tough situation to put yourself into. I just got a kick out of it.
I'm getting to that point.
I actually chuckle because I was taught early on about social media. The people who leave those negative comments, they're on YouTube or Instagram. They don't have followers. Yeah. There's usually two people. They just like to be negative. And then when you understand 100%. That, you go, oh, they're going to be negative to anybody. Don't take it personally. But I'll tell you what, and you know this, Bud, it's tough not to.
Yeah, it was a hard pill to swallow for me whenever, something, I can't remember, a post was shared on a really big platform and then I started reading the comments. I was like, whoa, I got to stop doing this. But, whenever you first experience it, it's like, it almost feels like people are, like trashing on your art, your experience, what you're passionate about, and that's hard to navigate at the beginning. But then, like you said, you start realizing it's like, these guys are just going to do it. You almost kind of have to, you almost have to like consider it like, wow, look at, I'm interacting and my content is stretching out so far that I am impacting these people in some way. That's great.
Yeah. It's
that's
awesome.
Yeah.
Why do you think when I went on your website and I saw build good into the world, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
you're supposed to leave a positive impact on somebody.
That's the goal.
And that's how I've lived. That's how I've lived my whole life. And if people don't understand that, guess what? That's them. That's right. Hey, that's why they make beer.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Cool. All right. I'm going to have one, maybe two more questions.
Yeah.
I always ask this question because who has been the biggest influence in your life now, previously, to inspire you in your trade?
So I would have to say, like my dad was always a huge inspiration, for sure. And he still is, but it's kind of one of those.
I knew the answer from the beginning, but I want people to hear it
for
now.
Sure. I mean, it's all, my dad and my cousin, like I mentioned, in Seattle, his like creativity and ingenuity is still inspiring, today. I mean, he's always kind of like, after my dad passed away, he was like that guy that I would always call on, for whether it be a question or how do I do this? And still today, it's like, hey man, I got this going on. He's always kind of that guy that I think about, whether it's something that I'm proud of. I'm like, oh yeah, man, he's going to like this, like he's always kind of that one that I'm almost like getting approval from, in a sense, I'm not necessarily getting his approval, but like, that's kind of what it, almost what it feels like, and so those are the two main influences, I would say, but now today, I've met so many people, there's so much influence out there. And, but originally, I mean, two influences, I would have to say my dad and my cousin for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. My parents, for me, they always pushed my creativity, whatever I wanted to do. They would
Yeah.
say, "Oh, why don't you try this?" But it was my parents for sure.
Yeah.
But I've had
Yeah.
so many people who have been inspirational in my life. So
For sure.
I always fall back on my parents because I don't want to upset people. Like, hey, I thought I was your inspiration.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll tell you somebody who was for me, because I just used to love to watch his television program, was Norm Abram.
Okay. Yeah.
And then when I came to work for Festool and I got to hang out with him and do videos with
It's
him,
crazy, huh?
I realized why he was so popular on This Old House in New Yankee Workshop, because he is so daggone genuine and he has that caring for people.
That goes a long ways, man.
There's no, hey, I'm Norm Abram. No, it's always like, hey, he's so daggone genuine. You want to hang out with him the whole time. That's why people loved when he was on those programs.
For sure.
You know, they're real folks doing what they have passion for building.
Yeah. That goes a long ways. It really does.
It really does. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a question about business again.
Okay.
What are your biggest struggles?
I'd probably say kind of what we touched on earlier, just doing it all,
Yep.
Like personally, I have learned my strengths and my weaknesses, and my weaknesses are probably just like so many other woodworker construction guys. It's just keeping up with the business. It's the taxes. It's the staying on top of quotes, getting quotes back to people.
Yeah. Paperwork.
I want to be working with my hands so much that it's hard to pause and like, no. Like, it always felt like, I think being in the construction world, it always felt like to me, whenever I wasn't doing something physically demanding, it didn't feel like I was working, if that makes any sense.
It makes tons of sense.
It was always hard to like, okay, you're doing this paperwork, you're staying on top of your business. That's work. That's like, even though it doesn't feel like it, you have to do this, So I would say that's been my biggest struggle with this whole thing. It's just forcing myself, to just consider these quotes and all the business side just as important as the products themselves, Cool. And a big challenge. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Next question. This is how I wrap it up. Is there a question I should have asked you?
Ooh. I don't think so. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think you nailed it, man. Yeah.
I think you nailed it. You have shared so much for everybody. I can't thank you enough for your time.
Oh my goodness.
I think I could talk to you, Bud, and we will over beers eventually for hours and hours.
I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way.
Hey, if you need an employee, I might move to Jacksonville, Texas.
Come on. Yeah. Can you,
I can bartend on Saturday nights.
Hey, bring it on. Man, that'd be so much fun. You want to be a guest bartender one day?
That would be so much daggone
Would that be fun?
It would. I did it for so long in Fort Lauderdale before I owned my own restaurants. Oh,
yeah, for sure.
It's funny. When you talk to somebody, you meet somebody, and then you start talking with them, you see how, especially woodworkers, how we have similar paths, and it's just, you find that common thread in there. It's wicked cool. That's why I love people.
It really is.
I love people. Yeah.
I do too, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. You're building good into the world, Bud.
Working on it. You didn't ask me my favorite tool, though.
Oh, what's your favorite tool?
I don't have one. Does that count?
Really?
I bring that up, and I would have to say maybe the track saw. I think that has to be it. Yep. Yeah. I think that's
Yeah. Everybody here at Festool thinks my favorite tool, because I'm always on it, is the domino, but my favorite is still the track saw.
Domino's pretty good though.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. But no, that there's something about the track saw and saving time. And like it happened again this past weekend, bud. It's, how would I have done that when I did it in 5 minutes?
Oh, 100%.
It was like magic. It would have taken me maybe an hour for setup and doing it another way, you know?
Yep.
So,
yeah.
And by the way, that was my first tool. So I guess I'm akin to it. Yeah, for sure.
2017 TS75 still going strong. Same one.
Yeah, baby. It's amazing.
Yep.
And they just last and last and last and last.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Chris, you got anything? All right. I guess we sounded good, so he's giving me the thumbs up. All right. He's kind of like my young Jamie on Joe Rogan. I always ask him, "Hey, Chris," I've asked him several times on things you've said, and we've checked it. You're good.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome. All right. I can't thank you enough for your time, bud. We really appreciate it. Oh my goodness,
Sedge. Thank you guys for everything. I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way. You guys have been awesome.
Yeah. And we're going to drink some beers together soon. I just know it.
I'm ready. You just let me know.
All right, brother. All right.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks,
everybody.
man.
That's the wrap.
Sedge.
Thank you.
Yep.